Hi. This video may very well be part one of a series of videos discussing and teaching an introduction to musical theory. The topics we'll touch on will be on musical theory in general and will be applicable to all instruments that follow the Western equal temperament system, or pianos and guitars and stuff. This means you can not only use this to learn how to rock, but also how to jam with your buddies. This will be an intro to music as a whole, initially with harmony, since rhythm can mostly be done imitating songs done on a drum machine, or maybe you already have a sense of it. Most people get rhythm going well ahead of harmony. But first, to help make the topic of music theory seem less scary, I'd like to talk about, as the title of the video says, the limitations of music. This topic will likely span 2 videos, meaning no homework for the first 2 lessons, with this first video talking about a couple main limits of our perception of music. The next we'll talk about all the limits that our tuning system further puts on to what we think is music. After this will be the real deal. But understanding these things is interesting, and it also helps you know that no matter what you learn about music in this system, you can make completely different sounding stuff and learn a whole slew of other things working in another system. The other aspect of this is to help put things in perspective. Most of us look at music and we see it as this vast, never-ending plane of wonder and magic. It feels that way. We get lost in it. Our imaginations soar into a cosmic abyss when we really get into it. But there really are limits. And knowing those limits will help you realize that no matter what sort of sound you happen to accidentally create in your artwork, there is a rule for that sound, and you can recreate it freely and accurately in any of your other work if you know that rule, if you know how to make that sound again. That's why a lot of different music can sound happy, or a lot of different music can sound sad or scary or whatever. It's knowing those devices and employing them how you want to. More on that later, though. As far as our perception of music goes, there's 2 fundamental limits, in addition to music is only sound. The limits are pulses we can perceive and pitches we can perceive. To get going on pulses, I'll get an electronic drum going in the background here. So, it's very slow. It's so slow that you can't really nod your head to it very well. We are essentially below the limit of a pulse we can follow. These limits do vary from person to person, though. A well-practiced and seasoned professional musician could actually follow this pulse and play in time with it, but that takes work. So I'll speed it up a lot. There. Now it's more of a pulse you can follow along with. It's nice and even sounding. You can make something catchy going along with this. But let's see what our limit is going up from here. I'm just going to crank it and keep going. Well, that's interesting. The pulse is going so fast right now that it's become a pitch. I'll stop that now. You've just seen the beginning and end of rhythm. And also now it's clear that pitch, and this is true for all pitches by the way, are just pulses that happen so fast, your brain turns the information into a smooth reference of that speed. It's actually this incredible way our brains can keep track of the speed of pulses without us having to consciously follow it. So you could actually imagine this, we'll say the note A for instance, since it's a nice round number. That is a wave that is traveling through the air, much like waves travel through water, and it's a few feet long, about there, and it's hitting you in the face 440 times a second. And your brain's just reading that speed and giving you a sense of it by allowing your mind to focus on a pitch. And that's it. There's definitely limits with pitch as well. It's just the same as our sight. There's a given range of pitches that we can and can't hear. If a pitch is too low for us, it either becomes a series of pulses, or if the wave is too smooth, it becomes the same as silence to us. Elephants have a voice that's too low-pitched for humans to hear, and they use it to speak to each other from miles apart. Record them and speed it up, and it'll sound like a symphony of subwoofers all over the woods. And if you make a pitch too high, it also becomes something we can't hear, except maybe the odd superhuman in class who starts getting a headache. You've seen them. So those are two huge sets of limits that we're always working between the boundaries of when we make music. I know it doesn't teach you anything about how to rock or jam knowing that, but it does set the stage for the fact that learning musical theory is even more limited than that. And that as long as you really know where the ends lie, you know how far you can go and how far you want to go with your work. Accepting and understanding the limits here, and the next ones I'll talk about, will set a solid foundation for your musical knowledge. In the next video, we'll discuss the tuning system we use, known as equal temperament, its limits, and why it's not in tune with how sound works in nature. Then after that, I promise we'll get to the things you can learn and use musically. Thank you very much.